that big just yet, but he really is a wonderful specimen of a leopard. Now, Mac, you're asking, is Quarantine's eyes blue? Well, blue is not really the word I would use for them. They've got a bluish tinge, but they are very light colored. That's probably a better way to put it. So he's got very light colored eyes, much like Mvula, much like Tumba. They've all got these lighter shades, and I mean, some are a little bit more blue or green. So in his case, he's got a more blue tinge. Tumba's is a more green tinge. Mvula also more bluish coloration. And it's just the way things are with these guys. That lineage seems to have some reason the lighter color eye gene, but it's not, blue is not really the color I would call it. It's just very, very light. Now, is he going to go up the mound for us and stop there? If he does, I'll be super happy, because it will be absolutely beautiful for him to be up there. Hold on, let's see. There we go. He is going up. Well done, Quarantine. Seems to like termite mounds. A lot of the photographs I've seen of Quarantine are up on a mound. And it seems as though this is his favorite kind of place to hang out. There we go. No, you don't go down. Stay there. Yes, you're going to park yourself down. That's absolutely perfect. Hello, boy. Nice to meet you. How cool is this? He really does look very, very, very similar to Mvula in his younger days. And some of the other offspring of that same mother down in the south of the Sabi Sands, he looks very similar to another male that we used to see down there. I forget his name now, actually, which is quite strange. I used to see him quite a lot, and I really used to enjoy spending time with him. But I'm just trying to think what his name was. He was a little bit on the shy side. Mandlev, that was his name. So we used to have a leopard there called Mandlev, and he used to have big ears, which is a trait of the Mvula bloodline. But that leopard, Mandlev, and Quarantine are very similar in a lot of ways. He tends to have a little bit more of a longer muzzle than what the leopard down in the south had, but still very, very similar in a lot of respects. You see now he's spotted something, so he's definitely piqued his interest. Maybe the warthogs are not too far away now, and he's now seen where they are. But see, look at that. You see how he's just adjusting his sort of field of view, moving his head, and those incredible senses that he's got in the forms of his eyes and his ears are going to try and just work out what exactly is going on and where they're moving to. And if he's spotted warthogs, well, I can tell you then he's going to probably start going after them. He knows that they're around here. It's just a matter of finding them. And this is why termite mounds are the best thing for a leopard, because they get a little bit higher. It allows them to see over the grass and to be able to spot small things like warthogs in amongst these grassy areas, where they can then focus on it and work out a way to go and stalk them. So from here he'll be able to then work out, right, these warthogs are moving in a certain direction. I need to loop around and use certain environmental conditions to help me with that. The thing is about this morning is there's no real sun, so he's not going to be able to use sun in a direction to try and kind of get him into place and to use the sun to his advantage. Also very little wind this morning, so he's actually got kind of free rein as to move any side he wants. So what he'll try and do more than anything else is focus on cover to be able to then find what he's looking for. But you can see how he just moves and tries to kind of figure out exactly what's going on. It might also not be warthogs. It could also be steenbok or duiker. There's lots of them around as well in this area. I've seen Tundi make many a duiker kill in this particular section that we're in, so this is not something that I would be surprised about if he did see those. So we'll just have to wait and see. He's definitely spotted something though. You've just finished breakfast, you can't have more. Typical male leopard. Once there's an opportunity, they will then definitely take it. Papadana, Quarantine is a fair size bigger than Hosanna. I mean, Hosanna's getting there. He's by no means a small leopard, and he will get bigger, but Quarantine is definitely bigger. I mean, Quarantine's got quite a few years on Hosanna, and he's most certainly a bigger individual. But it's interesting with Quarantine. It's a slightly different build than what you see from Hosanna. Quarantine has got that sort of stocky, quite short legs, quite bulky head, long muzzle. There's a little bit of a different kind of look to what Hosanna has. Hosanna has a more sort of, it almost looks like he's got slightly longer legs and a much longer tail, funny enough. That's one thing about Quarantine, is that his tail seems very short in comparison to Tumba's and to Hosanna's tail. His one seems to be a little bit on the shorter side, but maybe that's just because he's a little bit bigger, and that's why it appears that way. But other than that, like I said, the Hosanna just has a slightly different look about him, more rounder face than what Quarantine has got. Quarantine's got this much more kind of elongated muzzle and much more sort of lighter colored eyes. Obviously, we see Hosanna's got those dark eyes, but in size-wise, Quarantine is definitely much bigger at this stage. I think Hosanna's going to give him a run for his money, though, in terms of later in life. It'll be interesting to see Hosanna at 5 years. I reckon he'll be maybe the same size, if not bigger, than Quarantine will be. I would like to see Kunuma again. Last time I saw Kunuma was quite some time ago, and I would like to see Kunuma just to see if whether the two, because Kunuma is the direct brother of Quarantine. They were litter mates, and so it would be interesting to see who's actually a little larger out of the two of them. When I last saw Kunuma, he was still a young individual, so it would be difficult to kind of base it on that, but it would be interesting to see, because I know he's now dominating down on Mala Mala and has become a fixture of that area, so it's going to be interesting to see. Veronica, yes, I have. I've been incredibly fortunate in that I have now seen every single one of Karula's offspring. So from the first ones, Tandi's Shadow, to her next two, which was Shavinzi and Shavambalana. Then she had Quarantine and Kunuma, and then Hosanna and Shongile. So that's all of them. I've been fortunate to have spent time with every single one. Kunuma I've only seen once, Quarantine only once, but the others I've seen quite a few times and spent a lot of time with all of them. So it's been an epic thing to see, especially from a female that has the legacy that Karula does. It's you know, she's a very special female leopard. She's probably one of the most successful female leopards that I know of, certainly. I mean, I've never seen a female leopard anywhere else in any of the areas of the Sabi Sands be as successful with raising cubs as she was, and to dominate the way that she did, and provide food. I mean, she only, as far as we know, lost one cub, and to do that in 12 years of being an adult leopard is really an absolutely insane feat. If you look at any of the other leopards around us, they have had no way had any such luck. I mean, and we're talking about in the same area. So Tandi has lost cubs, Shadow loses cubs, Salehesh lost quite a few cubs, Moya has lost cubs, so Inkanyeni has lost, Beacon female before that, who else? Shavinzi, she obviously disappeared, so we don't know if she's had cubs. I'm just trying to think who else. Shikavi in this west, she's lost. I mean, there's lots. There's all over this area. They've all lost numbers of litters and whole litters, whereas, you know, Karula managed to kind of keep most of her cubs alive, and as far as we know, like I say, only one that she managed to lose in her entire life, which is an absolutely insane feat. And the thing about it is, we often talk about Shadow's kind of bad luck, and the fact that she's had a lot of male leopards to deal with and a lot of other factors, and she's been in a kind of bad place in comparison to Tandi and Karula. But I mean, Karula still had to deal with a lot. I mean, she still at the end of the day had to deal with hyenas, to deal with the Nkuma Pride, the Majingalans. I mean, she lived through Majingalans, Matimbas, Mapochos. She had to deal with all of those male lions, so she had a lot of different threats to her sort of survival and the cub survival, and the fact that she managed to raise all of these individuals is just a testament to why she became so well known and why she became such a legend. I mean, she's really was a phenomenal mother, and it's sad that I still feel like she might have had one more litter in her. At 12 years old, you do find females still denning. So it's sad that she disappeared before giving that one last litter. And at least in the litter that she did leave us with, the last one, Hosanna and Shongile, have been two of the most entertaining leopards and two of the prettiest leopards that I've seen. They really are amazing. They are relaxed, and they've provided us with hours and hours and hours of entertainment. And it's why, for me, I want Shongile to be around. I want Shongile to make an appearance, because if she can continue that legacy, the males obviously are part of that legacy, but they're not going to continue it in that they can't have cubs of their own. And so, you know, Tandi and Shadow, yes, they can continue it, but they are, at the end of the day, much older individuals. It just would have been so nice to have a young female at the age of Shongile or Shavinzi, even if she was still around, to be able to stay in these areas and to have then kind of populated it more with cubs from that line. So it's a bit sad that Karula is no longer around, and that, you know, Shongile has not really been seen. Shavinzi, same thing happened to her. She just disappeared, and so hopefully Shongile will come out soon and will end up being a leopard that we'll see in this general area.